Now, a pioneering project to prevent young people falling into a life of addiction has been launched in Dundee. A hard-hitting play tells the story of 16-year-old Dan Spargo-Mabbs, who died after taking ecstasy. A charity set up in his name is working with police and schools in the city to highlight the harm drugs can cause. Here's Felicity Clifford.
Dan was bright, big-hearted, chatty. Dan was one of those people that everybody liked.
Dan Spargo-Mabbs told his mum he was going to a friend's party. It was actually an illegal rave where he took the drug ecstasy.
Unfortunately for Dan and for us, the little bag he got was just incredibly strong. It turned out it was 12 times stronger than had caused fatality in the past. So he collapsed. He was rushed off to hospital, spent a couple of days on life support, and then died from multiple organ failure.
I held him for what seemed like ages, but I had to let go.
A powerful play that tells Dan's story is touring schools in Scotland. It's produced by the charity set up in memory of the 16-year-old to teach young people about the dangers of drugs.
We found out when Dan died that he hadn't had any drug education, and neither had his friends, and neither, it turned out, had so many other young people, just because there was a real lack of resources and support for schools to call on.
The event in Dundee, supported by the police and City Council, aims to break the cycle of drug use and ultimately save lives.
See that the harm that drug abuse and drug harm and drug supply can do to communities across Scotland, and that is linked to organised crime, which is why that we're looking to take this forward to see what can we do to try and prevent that, but warn people and give them that opportunity to see the risks that can occur through the use of drugs.
Prevention is a key focus of a 5-year action plan to tackle drugs deaths in Dundee. Deaths in the city have fallen by 20% in the last 2 years.
But that's not nearly enough, because they were far, far too high to begin with. So those statistics for me are meaningless. It's got to get down to zero. That's the only statistic that's important here. We know from speaking to people in the community, cocaine's a significant problem. But we also have significant long-term problems with misuse of prescribed medication. So for me, it's not a focus on a drug type, it's a focus on the harm that's caused by drugs.
Dundee, of all places, is kind of closest to my heart because of those, for every one of those numbers, there's a family like us that's lost someone they love.
Felicity Clifford, STV News.